So today's one of those days that are more crucial than the days that you're taking pictures of the flowers or just really admiring them. It's one of those days that are like really important to keep your garden healthy. We're going to repot some plants. We're going to make up new soil. We're going to check the overall health. We're just going to do that maintenance, that groundwork, that foundational work that is needed to have a healthy garden. There are as many desert rose soil mixes as there are types of desert roses. Every grower has his own favorite mix. Everybody has their own secret recipe. You see them on YouTube, you see them in the forums, you see them everywhere. But it's not that complicated. When it comes to making your potting soil for desert roses, there are two requirements. Number one is nutrients. Number two, it needs to be well draining, or draining well enough that the roots do not sit in water. It doesn't matter how often you water your desert rose as long as the roots can dry out. I'm in South Florida. In the fall, it could rain every day for weeks. We have hurricanes come through. We have tropical storms. It rains a lot. So for me, my goal is that my desert roses can get wet and it drains. Second thing is nutrients. And I have seen all kind of fertilizer recommendations. And of course, when they're flowering, you want to use a 20-20-20 mix. But I have seen all kind of fertilizers being recommended. And I have found that nothing gives me better growing desert roses than good old compost. So when Maria over at Maria's Gardens started recommending the potting soil mix for desert roses of 60% unstained mulch and 40% compost, I said, I'm giving that a whirl. Now, the mulch, unstained mulch that we get here in South Florida is basically cypress tree mulch, and so it looks like a bunch of sticks. So you may not be used to seeing all these sticks in a desert rose potting soil, but hey, I don't really care as long as my roots can dry out and my plants get plenty of the nutrients that they need. And I got to tell you, I have used all kind of sands and topsoil and perlite and cocoa coir. And I'm out here, it's like I'm making a French pastry or something with all the ingredients I'm using. So now, this is what I'm using. In the future, I may throw some perlite in there. I don't know. But this is what we're going with. And I think it's going to be a great, great mix for the long term. Again, 60% unstained mulch, 40% compost. And you know, I'm mixing it up here, trying to mix it up. This is a lot more work than it looks. And I got to tell you, I was feeling this at night, but I was bound and determined to get this going. Now, these plants were a little neglected, okay? I'll admit it. You see the roots are coming out of the bottom of the pot here. I had really great audio set up for you, but my air conditioner kicked on, and that's all you could really hear. But when you're dealing with your desert roses, you need to use your isopropyl alcohol and sanitize whatever you're going to be cutting with, whatever you're going to be working with. So I got my little clippers here. I sanitize them, and I'm going to switch my plant from the 4-inch pot to the 6-inch pot. So you watch me here. I start trimming off the roots. And generally, when you trim your plants, you want to go ahead and put some cinnamon powder on them to make sure that it doesn't get infected. I don't always do it. Just going to be completely honest with you. I don't know that it's always necessary. So when I trim small root hairs like this, I rarely do it. And now that I have my plant all depotted and ready to go, I fill up a 6-inch pot with my newly mixed desert rose potting soil. And normally you lift your plant up a little bit, but this one's young, so I didn't really feel like lifting it. My goal for my garden is not to pump out plants as quickly as possible. I'm not trying to sell them 20 and 30 at a time. My goal is to grow nice, fat, large plants that almost look like a bonsai, but I want big plants that I'm going to sell for triple digits. I'm not looking to sell a bunch of $15 plants. So I'm not raising my plants at every single opportunity because they actually get fatter, faster buried. So at this point, I'm not raising it yet. And that's it. Now it does the magic on its own, sitting there on the garden bench, and you can see what we got going on right now in this part of my garden. I hope you really enjoyed this. If you would like, subscribe, leave a comment, even if it's a criticism, just to know that you watched it. I appreciate it, and I'll see you next week with some more repotting.